It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Shit. They wanted the real. So. Figured I'd give them some of the real. You feel me? Niggas don't walk like me. Look. Never knew that my life would be like this. To be honest, I never thought I would write this. You know that feeling? Cold-hearted, lifeless. And it feel like your trials got perfect timing. Cause they all come knocking soon as your pride hit. And that tall fit for that dark lick, get on soft shit. Put your stress in a bottle, watch it dissolve then. It's twice as heavy, right when I wake and I yawn. Shit, I'm on one, trying to figure out what the boy done. They got me facing these problems that got the boy numb. My pain too heavy, feel like it weigh a ton. But I can't stop pushing, I gotta raise my son. Daughter staying with me cause her mom on lock. Yeah, they took away her bill, but the grind don't stop. That's why I'm riding around the city with this fifth and this nine. Because these niggas playing dirty when you getting your shine. Yeah, it's my time, I know when I ain't getting it twice. My little brother caught an M and they ain't hit him with life. Well, guess it's kind of a sign when you look at it. Got all this shit on my mind, know I look happy. Can't forget it, Mariana gotta eat too. Denari need J's on his feet too. Little DJ love me, though I don't see him much. I'ma get it right, or I promise you, I'ma give it up. Yeah. I ain't feeling the same. I feel like it's driving me crazy. Like I can't deal with the pain. So here when I say I need somebody to pray for me. Cause right now I don't know what to say. I feel like it's taking me. They hoping that I slip and I break. So here when I say I need somebody to pray for me. Whole sound watching me trying to get a response. Usually I do that Pac, I be hitting them up. But it's bigger than us. I gotta live for my Lou. So
good evening, everybody, and a happy Wednesday to you all, and welcome to another episode of the PDXDOPE Live Podcast. And yes, I'm your host, Mr. Ray Nelson Jr., a.k.a. The Blar, a.k.a. Rare G-ism. All right, so we're back at it again with another one. So I want to go ahead and introduce my panel. I got McCuddy, Miss Petty LaBelle in the building.
What's up?
And shit, doing our thing. And next up on the stage, we got Miss Claire in the house.
Good evening.
Hey, what's happening, y'all? Yeah, I want to give a shout out to R&B to Neff, Dre Steve. That's his song, Pray For Me, that you were listening to at the beginning of the show. So a lot of music out there that he's put out there and given the world. And so if you get a chance, look him up. Beautiful talent. It's just a sad thing to see someone with so much potential and to see what they could have been, you know. But he was definitely a great artist in the time that we had him. So, you know, salute to him, RP. But yeah, so what's happening, Geneva? So let's get with it this evening, ladies and gentlemen. We got a few stories to talk about. First, let me stop the music, though, because I don't have to swing back in. To clear my throat. Pause. Anyway, welcome back, y'all. Shit. Anyway, we got a few stories. Just one of the motherfuckers trying to be professional. And she has to say juicy mouthed. Whose joke was that? Was that Jamie Foxx?
I don't remember, but it was juicy mouthed. I don't know. I know. I don't even know if it was. I don't even think it was a celebrity. It was something else.
Yeah, I think it had to be. It might have been Jamie Foxx or somebody.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, anyway, I got some stories Claire cooked up. These are some interesting stories. We got cocaine production reaches record levels as new trafficking hubs emerge. So cocaine is still popular out there. They out there is still in love with the cocoa. We got some video and some footage of the moment where 4 Americans were kidnapped in Mexico. That seems to be a thing, and I'm not never going to Mexico now. Utah is the first state to limit teen social media access. We're gonna talk about what we think about that, and is it really a good thing, or and will it make an impact or help? And then we have like 2 families found dead trying to enter the U.S. from Canada. The police said so. You got like 8 people dead in a boating accident or whatever, but they were entering the U.S. from Canada. So there's a lot of things about that that's going on that we're gonna learn about today, and also we're gonna have a conversation about diet. Can diet help improve depression symptoms? And so that's kind of an interesting subject. So I would like to learn more about that, and we're going to talk about it tonight. So first off, we're going to start with social media, children having access and it being limited. And do you think that this is a good thing?
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing.
I think it's excellent.
I concur.
These little spawns of Satan don't need to have none of that.
Yeah, spawns of Satan it is, for real.
No, I mean, for real, like, it's out of control. Like, man, like, I'm having problems right now because of that.
Yeah, and it's dangerous too, though, because a lot of kids are exposed to a lot of things, and we have to be, you can't watch them 24/7, but it's like that'll help you. You do your best, but that'll really help for parents to really pay attention and monitor that type of thing, because they really should be all in their kids' motherfucking business when it comes to those phones. I think, anyway.
24/7.
20, yeah, absolutely.
Man, I got an Iris phone right now. Mm-hmm.
On deck. All right, here I got a video right here off of YouTube, and we're gonna check it out and hear what they're talking about.
When it goes into effect next year, children and teenagers in Utah could lose access to their social media accounts or face a barrage of restrictions aimed at shielding them from platforms some call addictive and dangerous. The law, just signed by Utah's governor, is expected to face legal challenges because of the wide-ranging impact on companies like TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, and Facebook. In addition to requiring age verification and giving parents access to their children's accounts, the law prohibits kids under 18 from using social media between 10:30 p.m. and 6:30 a.m. Nicolene Peck is a mother of 4.
I think it's a move in a really good direction that empowers parents to have hard conversations with their children about what's going on online and helps them be involved.
You may not care that your data is being accessed now, but it will be one day when you do care about it.
As lawmakers raise security and privacy issues concerning tech giants, several states are following Utah's lead to limit harmful effects of social media on teen mental health.
It could be difficult to enforce the law. Some of it I don't think will be. We have some really strict parental control tools.
With some calling the legislation unconstitutional and an infringement on free speech, Meta, which owns Facebook, says it's committed to keeping teens safe and will work with policymakers.
Tonight, groundbreaking legislation and the social experiment. Will it work? Miguel Almaguer, NBC News.
Well.
So, Claire, I'm going to start with you. What do you think? Do you think this is a good thing? Go.
I think this is a wonderful thing. It doesn't mean that the first go round is going to be perfect, but it's a start. And I'm a person that believes you have to start somewhere. Social media is toxic. It is all consuming. You have the online bullying that these kids are facing. It's not that we didn't have issues when we were in school, but you could go home, you could get away from it, and you could have that sense of safety in your home. And because these kids have phones and tablets and laptops, and they're just sucked in and drawn into this social media. If whatever happened at school during the day carries on, they just can't get away from it, and that's just school. That doesn't have anything to do with protection from pedophiles and pervs and other dangerous situations. So I think it's a wonderful thing. I don't understand the argument between free speech. Like, who's free speech? What?
Right.
Who? Like, do well, I don't understand how that is applicable. I do not feel bad for these social media companies. They're doing just fine with adults over the age of 18.
Mhm.
They don't necessarily need the kids' business, right? So I'm all for it, and I hope other states catch on. And Utah's law will probably grow and expand. They'll figure out, okay, well, this piece of it wasn't perfect, so we need to tweak this. But you have to start somewhere. So I think it's a
Okay.
wonderful thing.
Right on. Okay. So I think I see all of that. Don, what do you think?
I'm in total agreement because it's just like at this point, I got some stuff going on to school right now where there's a video circulating, and then on top of that, not only is the video circulating, I got this little girl over here that I gotta watch her every move on the phone because she thinks she's slicker than a can of oil. And it's like, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm damned if I do it, I'm damned if I don't. Like, I want her to have a phone for safety purposes, just in case, like, I'm not around and you need to call me because something's wrong. But then at the
Right.
same time, you know what I mean? I got to check the phone every 15, 20 minutes because she on here trying to twerk or something. You know what I'm saying? No, what are we doing? Like, now I got to explain to you what your worth is and what black girl magic is and all this old shit because you out here watching your little friends be thoughts and you want to fall in line. No, you're not going to fall in that line. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. Right.
I'm going to break your legs. You won't twerk nothing. You know what I'm saying? So what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, what? You know what I'm saying? What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No,
You
I
know what I'm
think
saying?
that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. I totally agree. I understand, especially you know, you going through it, so I know about it. So it's like it's time to do something about it. It's not going away. I mean, you have adults that can't control themselves when it comes
I
to
was just
social
going to say,
media. You know what I'm saying? And so
man,
when you put it in that type of perspective, imagine the type of things that the kids deal with, and they're not even mentally developed enough to even handle the type of mental pressure that they'll be dealing with when you talk about cyberbullying, or being approached by adults on the internet, and being taken advantage of and those type of things. So
that shit make it to where you have to have a license, like a driver's license. You have to have a license to have social media. And if you can't pass the test, you can't
but
get one.
what's interesting to me is that, as a parent, it seems to me that the parents that are overly like that, it seems like that's a parent's job, really, you know what I'm saying, to try to control that. But in addition to that, because you can't, it's not social media's fault 100% in my mind,
No.
because I do feel like parents have to play more of an active role in monitoring those type of things and being aware, not just getting your kid a phone just so they can have a phone and then they fucking up and doing passing videos around or whatever the case might be, or talking to some grown ass nigga, or you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
the parents need to play a part, active role in this too. Though this should have never been a reason to. We should. I mean, I guess you still do this, but it shouldn't be so far gone to where then this is a big thing now. I think that parenting, man, they get a break, or there's a lot of excuses blamed on shit for things that they didn't do. But
Oh,
yeah, I think
well,
it's a good thing.
consider this. So I was, we come from a day where there were no cell phones, there were the corded phones, right? And
Mm.
I wanted to have a phone in my room, and my mom was like, absolutely not. So we had that phone that had the super long cord that you could drag all around the house, right? But I was good for wanting to be on the phone at, the wee hours of the morning. And so, that wasn't necessarily something that my mom okayed, but I'm sneaking to be on the phone with the blankets over my head, chatting on the phone with my homegirls or whoever. So, even good kids are going to sneak to do things that they don't necessarily realize aren't to their greatest benefit, right? My mom's thing was like, take your tail to sleep, right? Good night. And my mom's
Right,
way of handling that was she would just unplug the phone from the wall. Right? When she caught me, she wouldn't
right.
even come in and address me. Many of my friends got hung up on at all kinds of hours in the night, and
'Cause
she
both of
made no
y'all needed to be
apologies.
in the bed. That's
Absolutely. So I just think
yeah.
about, yeah, parents should be involved, but there are kids that are just gonna sneak. One thing that I like about this piece of legislation is it's going to uh, ban social media between. I don't know how they're going to ban it, but it's going to be off limits in some kind of way between 10:30 p.m. and 6:30 a.m.
Right.
And that's probably a good thing because you should be asleep, right? And not trying to reach for your phone in the night and get on, if your parents let you have your phone at your bedside. So I think those are,
I
good
think
things,
it's
but
more
we'll
to
see
it. I
how they
think it's
do it.
I think it's a start, but it's just more to it though, because it's like there's so many it's like, to me, it's like maybe you said an age for how old you can be to have a cell phone. What about that?
I mean, that would be cool too. But then you got people like me. I'm a single parent. I got to
Hmm.
go to work at some point. I can't watch everything. So I need a phone in the house for them, need them to have a phone. What if they're at school and I'm at work and something happens? I needed them to be able to call me. You know what I mean? If something's going on. But at the
Hmm.
same time, you know what I'm saying? I can take the phone all day I want. But guess what? They're giving them computers at school. And guess what? They have access to those fucking same things that they have on the fucking phone on those
True,
goddamn computers. Nairi,
true.
right now, this motherfucker got
Chromebooks.
12 Instagram accounts, nigga.
12.
Nick, bullshit you not. Let me see. Let me see. So let's count together. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, okay, 8.
See,
It was
see,
close.
the sneaking, right? And the thing is she's not being. It's not abnormal for a girl her
And then
age
what
to
they
sneak to
what
try
they
to get
do
the kid.
is they friends also have access to those very accounts where they can log in on those accounts and they can sneak messages like that to each other because they all have the information to each other's accounts. So they're logging in like, hey man, this is they got hey man, it's hey, shit's going down, okay? I bullshit you not. Then you got these there's a social media, it's called lobby, not living room, it's called the lobby. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? They're in the lobby and they got a whole nother setup over here, okay? And Discord and yeah. Oh man, they got all kind of stuff, man. Like hey,
See,
A whole little network.
hey man, it's a child's man, a predator's paradise, man. I'm telling you, they got their own shit. They got their own little things where they can. Man, they're doing too much. And
so
Right.
it's like
Utah's
I check her phone constantly. She didn't make half them accounts on this phone. She made them accounts on a computer.
Right. Right. Right.
Utah's legislation is going to mandate that minors under 18 cannot create accounts without parental consent. Now, I don't know quite how that's all going to work without kids lying. Like, I don't quite know how
That's what they do
you're
to
going to
get
convince them
Instagram.
to not lie about their birth date, but
Right.
they must have some kind of foresight on how they're going to do that.
I'm sure there's has to be a way. You know what I
You
mean?
got to
Because
Because
as
enter
of
your
right now, they're lying
code.
about their age.
Oh, absolutely.
hmm Oh, of course.
Fake
Jamari had
IDs.
a goddamn Facebook page when he was like 7 or 8 or some shit. I mean, how'd you get a Facebook? They just put these different ages in there. His
Right,
friends told him how to do it, and he had a page. I'm like, what the hell? You know,
right.
and this is back then.
I didn't even
Like
have one
shit.
then.
You're right. You
Shit.
know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like shit, what the fuck? But I
right.
mean, I think I'm exaggerating. He was more like 10, 11,
Still,
whatever it was. But
case in point, I didn't even have one.
shit,
She's like, still.
still didn't have one.
I
Yeah,
mean, it's
nah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I think that the legislation is good though, but it's only in a couple of states right now though.
Well,
It's
but
gonna
then you
be
got kids like Devin,
it's
where
not gonna happen. They're not gonna
he
limit
just
it
wants
here.
to do his. He's a superhero at 12. He still wants to just do his
Mhm.
videos and make his little memes, his little whatever he does,
Right.
and get. He wants to go viral like that. You know what I'm saying? He's not doing some of the stuff these other kids is doing. He's just on his little kid stuff and thinks it's funny and wants people to laugh and whatever. Cool beans. You know what I'm saying? But then the majority of these little kids, they're 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 imps. They're imps for the devil. You know what I'm saying? They're soldiers for the devil. You know what I'm saying? This is what they do. You
Oh
know?
yeah.
Yeah.
I would I would just say like this. None of these kids would be the same when they grow up. You
Mm.
know, I mean,
So
but
we hope.
well, I mean, yeah, we hope that for all kids. But the thing is that this is part of the game of life, too, at the same time, because
Yeah.
he'll deal with this on an adult level, you know, or whatever. I mean, where he's able to maneuver a little bit, but he'll know how to deal with this shit because he's going through it, you know. Might not
Right.
be the best thing for him right now. I get it, you know, and it looks crazy and all that, but at the end of the day, it's not something that he's going to have to endure like you know, or whatever for the rest of his life. It's just about how do you deal with that type shit versus,
Yeah. I mean, like my mom said, they're just shepherds for the devil right now. That's what they doing.
yeah, no, seriously, but yeah, no, social media, they should do this, and I think that it's a cool thing, but I don't think it's gonna happen out here on the West Coast. Not on the West Coast. I don't think that's gonna happen. But who knows? Maybe.
Well, Utah's a border state, so
Right,
maybe
right.
Clearly.
maybe it'll
Well,
influence us.
they already trying to make as far as that goes on the border over there, they're trying to take part of Oregon and make it Utah.
Idaho.
All
Idaho.
right. Oh, that's Idaho. Okay, one of them.
Yeah,
I was gonna say whatever.
it's a certain section. Well, I mean, we don't need
Yeah,
it.
we don't need
Everything
it,
else is blue.
and they don't want to be over here anyway. So let them
Listen,
go.
my thing is like this though, but I do have a question, or maybe it's a question of thought or whatever. But if we can allow children to choose gender assignment or choose to be whatever they want, and we can give them treatment, we talked about this the other day. Then why would we care about what they watch on social media?
That's a problem for me because I care about you're not. I had a boy. You're gonna be a boy. God damn it.
You know what I'm.
And like
But what I'm
no.
saying though, you feel what I'm saying though. It's like because this is important to people. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But it's like to me, it's like I don't know. You know what I mean?
Well,
Is that controversial?
I was
Because I'm
watching this thing. It was weird though. It's like, but it's true. So I even posted it. It said this guy he was talking. He's like, we can't make people, be Christian and believe in Jesus and God and go for all that and everything. We got to be, mindful of what we say and how we push religion on people. But he called them the rainbow people, not my words, his. He said, but the rainbow people can push to their beliefs and whatever the things that they do on the rest of us, and can't nobody say nothing, and we all have to accept it and abide and be a part of that. But we can't push religion. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? What's same shit. Same
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Same shit.
Well, well, those are questions that with obvious answers, but if you answer them, then you run the risk of losing everything behind that, and that's where we're at. People don't like what you think, and if it goes against what the echo chamber is saying, then it will become problematic for you, and that's for you and anybody else, myself included.
That is
So
so fucked
it's
up.
like where we have to be careful how we talk around people, or we can't even. And this is just stuff that's based on science or whatever. They're your thought process, or whatever. And then if you're against it, then you are ultimately evil. You're one of the shepherds for Satan. Ain't that what you said? Or something like that.
Shepherd for the devil.
Whatever, same guy, right? So
Shepherd for the devil.
it's the same guy, right? I thought
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming, shit. Who knows now? Hell.
Yeah, man. No, but seriously, no, but hopefully this can do something and kind of get these kids' heads out their asses. But we one of these stories you had on here, Claire, is quite interesting to me though. As we transition to the next thing, cocaine production reaches record levels as new trafficking hubs emerge. I thought it was this new shit these kids was on. Cocaine is still the number one drug in the joint, or still making noise.
It's still popping.
Yeah.
And the problem is
So
they cutting it with fentanyl. That's why people's dying.
It's increasing. So basically, when I was looking at that story, the reality is, COVID changed how people moved around the world, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that changed how the traffickers had to move. So they just found different ways to begin to ship cocaine around the world. And this is probably isn't relegated only to cocaine. I'm sure heroin's in on that, and fentanyl's in on that in terms of trafficking and means of trafficking. But the reality is it's on the rise. again. Maybe it dipped down, but it's back up. But drugs have been around for centuries, and they're probably going to be around as long as the world exists.
Right, right. They ain't nothing changing. Nothing for the
Nothing.
change when it comes to drugs. It will always be out here. So it's cocaine is making a comeback, y'all. And this
Look at the comeback.
no, these street people is the one that's cutting it, but they coming back with that fish scale.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
It ain't
they out
never. It
here.
ain't never. I mean, honestly, I don't want to say how I know, but it ain't never left.
no.
Yeah, no, I don't think that it has either. I think that it's just been that it ain't been as famous as the other drugs. Fentanyl has been number one on the
And
charts for
that's
a
why
long
it's been.
time
That's
now.
why it's able for it to make the comeback that it's coming.
Meth. Hey, hold on, meth is up there too now. Them is the hottest stars out there in the drug market.
Well, I'm saying the reason
No,
why
no, no,
people
opiates,
ain't
opiates.
noticing
I'm sorry.
the reason why people ain't noticing it like that is because they've been looking at all the other shit. That's why it's been so easy to move the cocaine like that because ain't nobody
Right.
looking at the cocaine. So the cocaine has been able to be quiet and be under the rug and be hushed. And now it's making. I mean, they've been making big bank off of that right now.
That
Yeah,
makes
well,
sense.
their production is up, so
Hmm.
we don't talk about it. But this is a story from the BBC. You can take a look at this real quick. You can watch the whole thing, watch some of it or whatever. Oh, and it would be nice if I shared the damn story.
Yeah, that would be great. Nice of you.
Shut up! Don't you make me do it?
The United Nations Crime says global production has jumped to record levels over the past 2 years. So let's have a look at some of the findings. Well, the report found that coca cultivation in South America rose by 35% between 2021 and 2022. Apologies, just a sip of water. Now, it also found that more people are using the drug in Africa and Asia, as well as in traditional markets like Europe and the Americas. The past decade has seen new hubs for cocaine trafficking emerge in West and Central Africa. And the use of crack cocaine is on an upward trend in a number of Western European countries, including
Oh
the UK,
shit!
Belgium, France, and also Spain. And staying in Europe, and the Belgian port city of Antwerp, which has overtaken the Dutch city of Rotterdam as the main entry point for cocaine into Europe. Last year, a record 110 tons were seized in Antwerp, and the incinerators used by Belgian customs to burn the seized cocaine couldn't keep up with demand. Well, Christian van der Wern is the head of Belgian customs.
It's a huge problem, and not only when it comes to the seizures as such, but also the violence. Last year, we experienced an increase in violence in the city of Antwerp. There have been shooting, there have been grenades, but also there's been an attempt of kidnapping of our Ministry of Justice. So the situation in Belgium when it comes to the import of cocaine is getting pretty serious.
Well, the impacts of cocaine on communities are wide-ranging. Pastor Nick Fleming is a reformed drug addict.
Anyway,
Mm.
man, they getting high like a motherfucker over there in Europe, but they don't be talking about that. You would think crack only lived in America.
Mm.
They got
They been
cocaine all in
smoking crack
Africa
over
and
there.
shit. No, they talking about it like like how it used to be out here, right? Or how like the
It
party.
was like that over there then too. They just wasn't talking about it. They just wanted to talk about what we was doing.
Yeah, nah. They just explained it there. I don't know what in that video did you not get.
Well, I'm just saying it's plain as skin
They
over there.
said,
I heard the video just like you did. I'm just saying.
yeah. But anyway, cocaine is on the ride, 35%. What does that mean?
Well, coming out of that pandemic, people are still, worldwide, right? The pandemic's worldwide. So people are readjusting to being around human beings. So you've had people who have been minding their own business. And so when you think about it, like it was prime for people to be out there and just growing whatever they want to grow. Like, who's checking for that? That people are worried about toilet paper, right? They're not, we're worrying about people's cultivation.
Clearly.
Shit. Well, I mean, coke ain't going nowhere. I mean, this was just like a business thing. Like they talk about crops and corn and or whatever shit about cocaine is up. They
They,
talking about cocaine in Africa and shit. Like those are poor countries.
well, they were just talking about on this little story I seen the other day where it was something going on in over in New York where the Coca Cola company was getting the coca leaves brought in so they can put in, for their Coca Cola,
Sure.
and they were talking about that shit. You know what I'm saying? So some shit happened to where they had a deal with the DEA to where they could keep getting the coca leaves to make their Coca Cola for their flavoring of the Coca Cola. So they said flavoring. Notice they said that, but yeah,
Yeah, I heard stories about that before or seen a documentary on it.
yeah. So
Mhm.
it's a lot of things happening with the coca plant.
Yeah, but if it was some real cocaine and that shit, that was a long time ago too, by the way. But um,
It was
nigga,
in a little article just the other day. That's why I mentioned it. I seen the one in the little thing. I thought I
yeah,
sent it to you.
yeah, because I'm gonna tell you like this: if they put that shit in something, we're gonna know something for real. I don't know what that means though. I guess it's more cocaine out there for the people. I mean, is that a good thing? Shit, I don't know. It's
Okay.
such a diverse thing. I mean, drugs are all over the place. I mean, you don't know what these kids is taking now, whether it's sipping lean, popping pills, opiates and shit, fentanyl cut with coke, methamphetamines, heroin, cocaine. Is there something I'm missing? I'm sure it is.
Crack.
Well, crack is cocaine's cousin, so I mean,
Yeah,
it's,
yeah, but
or,
still.
or no,
Free, free
crack is
cavi.
cocaine's dirty little kid.
Yeah, and then you got the
Dirty
cavi
little
blunts.
kid.
They got the cavi
Wow.
blunts. The
For real, the
cavi
kid.
blunts. Mm-hmm.
Oh no, booyah. Yeah, mix it. They call them woolies in New York. They call them woolies. That's the cocaine mixed with the weed.
That's
Yeah,
terrible.
yeah. It's what they is doing. Who does that? You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like,
hell
that's that hardcore, man. I draw a line. I draw a line in the sand. That's too deep. It's too deep and too expensive. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like for real though. I mean, I just see nothing but tragedy when I think about that. Cause those kind of drugs, and just being one of them motherfuckers on the streets that see that are on dope but homeless or something. They be looking just awful. It's just like, ugh, too
out of their
I,
terrible.
mind.
I was
Yeah,
watching a clip from You So Crazy, Martin Lawrence's You So Crazy today from
mhm.
1994 or whatever that was. And he was talking about people doing drugs and how when they do drugs, like it's amazing how they still think they look good. Um,
Oh, dog.
he went in on that, and I was like, "Wow, Martin is something else." He had me in stitches today, boy.
Right, right.
Like that wraparound hairdo.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that man, this hair was making me mad. Toupee, bro, toupee or something. I
Hey,
don't know.
listen, you can't tell him how to rock his joint.
It wasn't long
He
enough for the comb over though. The sides wasn't
Nah,
long enough for
Hey,
the comb
listen,
over.
it was working for him though.
according to who?
I was just saying, according
According
to
to
him, apparently,
Let
because he
me
was wearing it.
let me be nice.
Shit, according to
no.
nobody, first thing is he's a winner just for the sense that what I just said. He according to himself, he thought he could lead a house with that. According to him, he felt like I look good with this. Fuck what you talk about. He
Mm.
said it. No matter what nobody else got to say, but I agree.
And that
You
brings us
gotta let
back to
it.
what Claire
Sometimes
just said.
you gotta let it go.
The
TK
wraparounds and
love
the comb
TKO.
overs just kill me,
You
but
got to.
let me not judge.
I wish I would.
Oh man, I
A
would joke
comb
you.
over?
I would joke the shit out of you, bro.
You would have
Oh
Well,
to have
my
yeah,
a perm for it to
god.
lay over.
we
Oh,
would get it in on you. I mean,
oh
that's a different
wow. You
conversation.
wouldn't make it, money. Oh my god, you wouldn't make it. Mm-mm.
Was
It would be vicious. That would be like you trying to go grow your hair back and get some cornrows right now at the right age as you are right now.
Don't
Oh
dare
no,
him. He'll
I
do
could
that.
still do that.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Why not?
I recommend Jesus. I recommend Jesus. Yeah,
Out
don't do it. Don't
here
do
looking ridiculous, nigga.
it.
Yeah,
Hey,
no.
wait, when didn't you say somebody was out there? We ain't gonna say no names, but somebody was talking about somebody that was still trying to dress like they in their young 20s and they in their late mid 50s right now.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
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 yeah.
okay, yeah. You be
Out here
shopping
rolling
out
hard,
here
like,
shopping at top to bottom and shit.
hey, 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 hey.
I'm not talking about
Wow.
that clothes. I'm just saying some of this shit is not age appropriate. That's just
Oh
like the
yeah,
bitch
yeah,
some more.
yeah.
The bitch some more. The comedian. She was like, I just want to know, is there an age limit on baby hair? Bitch, is there? Because I almost lost my mind when she said that because there should be a limit, an age limit on baby hair. Yeah, she
So
said you can
baby
no
hair,
longer.
I thought baby hair. I mean, so that's when you put the thing on the side with a little.
All them little wigglies these bitches be having down the side of their face. She was like, and if you can't no longer have babies, you shouldn't have no baby hair.
So did they just call it baby hair, or is it just permed real good and they just stick it to their face
No,
with a little?
because some people grow edges and their edges are naturally curly and they just lay a certain way. You know, how some of them bitches got that shit. Well, most of you bitches don't got that shit, and then you get these lace fronts,
Edges.
and then you glowing and you spit curling it down all
Hold up,
around here.
hold this thought. Do not stop because you got me on one right now. But I gotta go to the
Spit
bathroom.
curls. Yeah,
I gotta see. Oh, she on one. Hold on, I gotta hear this. I gotta
yeah,
hear
it's
this.
a spit curl. You know what I'm saying? What are we doing? Yeah, fuck all that.
Well, I happily am entering into that age where I'm not going to be able to have babies.
But your baby's hairs are natural and they grow a certain way because of the way your hair texture is.
and I'm
And
not
your
trying to make them extra. There's just a
you're
little,
not bringing them down to meet your eyebrows, and they only got a
no,
centimeter or two apart from your eyebrows, and
no
that's
little,
stupid.
no little
Mm-mm.
swoop.
The
Yeah, no,
squigglies, or you pressing them out and then curling them, and then trying to put a little edge control on it to make it lay a certain way and
not at
shit.
all.
Yeah,
And not going to.
fuck a baby hair,
I
especially
definitely agree that there's an age limit on that. Like there's
yeah.
just a
And then
point where
I mean, like heels after a certain age and weight limits and shit like that. Just let it go.
knees.
All of the above. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing? You know
And
what I'm
what
saying?
about just the soles of your feet? Which don't get me wrong, if you can rock them, you can rock them. But
Right.
my feet are
Yeah.
so much happier not being in heels.
Clearly. They just
And
like,
I'm
oh,
tall
yeah,
enough. I don't feel like I don't need to be any taller.
yeah.
I'm good.
Leave them stilettos and 4.5-inch heels to the young bitches. Let them have that. Let them have that. For real. Like, that is not what we doing. I mean, I understand a little bit of heel to make your outfit pop or cute shoes or something.
Right. At certain times,
At
right?
certain
Like
times.
in an
Right. At
event,
certain
right?
times.
You going to a
Right.
wedding or something,
Yeah.
and like
Something.
you're doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Somebody's
like,
50th anniversary or something, like there's a time and
yeah.
a place
Spit
every
curl.
But
day.
yeah, spit curls. That's what my mom used to call them, spit curls. And it's horrible. But like at the same time, but like bitch, if your toes is grabbing the front of your motherfucking shoes like booger wolf,
Okay,
and
so
and
that
like you
means
skiing
you
on your.
need to buy a bigger shoe.
No,
Quit
I'm saying
lying to
because
yourself
you
about your shoe
sliding
size.
down because your
Oh,
feet
that
hurt,
too.
and then
Well,
they
that
grip in
too.
the front like moose knuckles and shit. Bitch, don't do that.
But if you bought a bigger shoe, even with the slide, then your foot
Mm-mm.
wouldn't slide off the heel or the off the toe. You
Toes
should
looking
buy a
like
bigger shoe
talons.
when you're buying
Holding
heels.
your toes looking like talons trying to wear them motherfucking 4.5-inch heels. Bitch, stay in your age bracket, bitch. Go get you some motherfucking kitten heels, bitch, and rock that.
I feel some kind of way about open toe shoes and how they look. Like I need to have,
You
a
gotta
little
be a
bit of
certain way.
a little tip beyond where my toe stops. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
you got to have a little extra, and you got to be some support.
Even with the sandal, right? Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing here?
Well, why?
They make
Why?
shoes all sizes. Buy a shoe that is good for you. That I don't know. I'm particular about my shoes.
Sandals, not for me.
Oh yeah, let it go. But I'm just saying. But like, you know your limitations. Everybody should know their limitations. You look like you got knuckles on your toes, bitch. Let it go. Don't wear that.
So edges. So when is there an age limit on edges?
I think that
Edges.
the age limit on edges, you shouldn't go past. You shouldn't be having. You just shouldn't do it. If you don't have a certain look about you and your hair don't grow a certain kind of way, bitch, if your hair look like it was just a ball of tumbleweed all the time around the edges of your head, you don't get baby hair.
Not
We know that
about
ain't.
tumbleweed.
If you got little balls, little niggas with fists all around the edges of your hair, that means you got BDBs, bitch. Then let it be. Let them be.
So listen, when we talk about depression and mental health and all those type of things, and we can kind of talk about the things that might affect our depression or mental health, and we always attribute them to Black environmental things such as emotional traumas, or when I say that, it can be a lot of things from work, kids, grandkids, or whatever, those just everyday life things. But I think that, but what I want to talk about today, or we're getting ready to talk about here in this next topic,
one of them now,
is about the food that we eat and how that affects depression. So diet and depression and how those things go together. So I'm gonna play a video. We're gonna take a quick peek at this video. We're gonna watch the whole thing, but we'll kind of get the gist of it, and then we're gonna kind of talk about it.
For its results on diet and depression. And it's a randomized controlled trial. Look at the graphics. This is Healthcare Triage News.
He's excited.
It's animated like a motherfucker.
Plenty of studies examining the link between diet and depression. We've talked about the many problems with these kinds of studies, but there are also a handful of randomized controlled trials, which we love. A meta-analysis of 16 of these RCTs reported significant reduction of non-clinical depressive symptoms in response to dietary interventions that aim to improve overall nutritional intake. However, most of the randomized controlled trials in this meta-analysis were not looking at depressive symptoms as a main outcome, or they were designed to compare two different diets or examine accompanying factors such as exercise and sleep. In addition, most did not examine clinical diagnoses of depression. In fact, authors of the current study point out that only one RCT to date has examined the effect of dietary intervention on individuals with a clinical diagnosis of depression. This study, called the SMILES trial, examined the effect of a 12-week dietary intervention on depressive symptoms. Improvements in the experimental dietary group were compared to improvements in a control group given social support on the same schedule over the same amount of time. At the end of 12 weeks, participants in the dietary group had significantly improved depressive symptoms compared to the social support group. The current study, published in PLOS One, used a shorter intervention in a younger age group, participants ranging from 17 to 35 years of age with moderate or higher symptoms of depression who habitually consumed a poor diet were randomly assigned to either a 3-week dietary intervention or to a habitual diet group. The intervention group received instructions from a registered dietitian on following a diet based on the Australian Guide to Healthy Eating and with recommendations based on a Mediterranean-style diet. They were given specific recommendations about fruits and vegetables, whole grain cereals, protein from specific sources, unsweetened dairy, nuts and seeds, olive oil, and spices such as turmeric and cinnamon. They were also instructed to decrease consumption of refined carbohydrates, sugar, fatty or processed meats, and soft drinks. The habitual control group were given no instructions and simply asked to return for evaluation after the 3-week period was over. Measures taken to ensure dietary compliance included giving the participants food items, 2 brief phone calls on days 7 and 14 of the study, and a $60 gift card to reimburse food costs in exchange for grocery receipts. Beyond compliance questionnaires, spectrophotometry readings were taken to assess intake of fruits and vegetables. This method measures light properties in the skin, which change in response to increased fruit and vegetable intake, which seems like magic. At the end of 3 weeks, the experimental group reported a significant decrease in depressive symptoms as measured by the Center for Epidemiological Studies Depression Scale when compared to the control group. Many caveats, of course. We have to consider that these trials can't be double-blinded because there's no way to hide whether participants are eating healthier food. Given that we know depression can be alleviated when subjects are told that an intervention is meant to alleviate it, also known as a placebo effect, this is something to consider at a point when studies on potential mechanisms have yet to be performed. We also have to consider the difficulty of ensuring the exact level of adherence to diet recommendations. This is often hard.
All righty. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Good Lord.
He was stimulating.
What'd you say?
Yeah.
He was stimulating.
Like he like
Yeah,
what
yo, he
the
was definitely, I mean, he was involved, you know. I mean, he was clear. I mean,
Yeah.
I was looking at them numbers and shit. I was like, huh, that's interesting.
I was curious about that bad food Bible that he had in the
Right.
background.
Yeah, all you got to do is look that up. That's probably tell you what not to eat, and then you looking like, damn, gotta change your whole diet up, fucking with it when you really learn what's happening.
Well, he's
Right.
probably happy because he's eating a good diet.
Clearly.
That's what happens when you eat a good diet, huh? I mean, maybe I'll pick a better tie, but
You will
Yeah.
definitely pick a better tie being my friend.
Clearly. God damn it.
well, apparently his wife picked that tie out, so kudos to him. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause,
Well, if
he
that's the
probably
case, then she liked it, he loved it. That I guess that's good.
Yeah, that's the one that bitches look at her mane.
was.
Well, nobody looking anyway, bitch. But
I
you
could
know,
teach
hey.
teach a whole class on how to buy a tie for a man.
Man. Well, so what do you think about that? Do you think that's something that people should explore?
Definitely, to a certain extent. I mean, not go overboard. Like some people go overboard with a lot of things, but definitely.
They say, but it's like he said though, you can't really tell because I mean it's blind because you don't know what people are really eating in those tests.
Right.
But the effects though you could tell though it did have some effects in the positive for depression.
Right.
So I just think it's but I think that we kind of I mean you know what eating bad foods and make you like sluggish or
Right.
Exactly.
weird. Yeah, I'm kind of weird or whatever. You don't want to do shit.
I think the reality is it's not going to take depression away if that's something that you battle with,
Manage
but it's
it.
an overall concept that the better you eat, the better you feel as a general rule. But when I was reading the article, there's like 13 bacteria in the gut that
Yeah.
respond positively or negatively to foods, right? And though they're sending signals to the brain. So if those bacteria that we have, if they're responding negatively to the food that we're eating and it's sending those negative signals to the brain, then sure, if you're somebody who's already battling depression, that's not helping you, right?
Right.
And I think that the other piece is that you have to just be knowledgeable that it doesn't mean just because you change your diet to a Mediterranean diet or you increase your fruits and veggies that your depression is going to go away, right? Like that's not going to be a single agent, but that doesn't mean that it can't be a contributing factor to feeling better.
Right.
Well said. Well said.
You medical professional, you go ahead, girl.
Well, I just read that article.
That's a read nigga right there.
My specialty is financial coordinator for bone marrow transplant. Like that's my gig.
Well, you still gotta know some shit.
I'm money. I'm making them insurance companies pay.
Yeah, I'm
Clearly.
about collecting that money. We collected $33 million last month.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Pay these claims.
And we did 31 million. We get up to 34 million. And all these is records. None of this stuff was done before I arrived. I can say that honestly. And none of it was happening until I arrived. So I hold tight to that. They ain't even scratched like 28. No, man, I've been doing it. Yeah, my group is hard.
It's definitely a whole thing.
Yeah, it's a trip, but it's like it's a lot of fucking money. Like, so last Friday, so we had some issues with our finance department where these motherfuckers weren't ordering checks, right? So we have, we have two accounts, right? You have the finance account and you have the the finance GL, and then we have ours, what I mean, for the payments and stuff like that, for charges and all that. So anyway, for the the credits team is one of my responsibilities. I have a team, we process, we reconcile credits that we have, like money that's not distributed, it needs to be distributed or refunded to patients. So we went weeks without, we had like 5 weeks, and these are through from 2015, for December 15th, 2022, all the way up into a couple of dates in March. And so it got escalated because patients were looking for their money. We approved them, but they don't get the money, right? So, long story short, they got everything situated. They got the checks and stuff, and then we ran them. And on Friday, I had nearly $1 million in printed checks that I had to get into the mail and out to the patients and to insurance payers, but in particular the patients. The payers, it's going to do what it do.
Right.
With your patients, you really want to get them their money, because they're calling, they want their bread. And I never seen, it was like a 2.5 foot tall stack of fucking checks. Craziest ever. It was nuts, And then also we have the insurance refund team. So, and it's a little bit more work because then there's paperwork that goes with that goes out to the payer that they got to print out. So that's a whole different ballgame. The other ones you just stuff and you send them out in the mail. You know what I mean? But it's a lot of money, just sitting there, like you have, $3-4 million just sitting. That's supposed to go to somebody, and we have to process that shit out though. But to see that much, to deal with that kind of money just daily, posting $1 million a day.
Question.
Yeah.
What do you think? Considering that Washington is no longer they're passing that bill where they can no longer drug test their employees or for employment drug testing. Well, they can if you do something fucked up or whatever. But like when you get higher on now in Washington, that's not required for you to do.
I think it's to the company discretion.
I don't think it was what it was. I think what is the company discretion once you're hired, if they feel like they want to drug test you for any reason, like if you've given them probable cause to feel like they need to check you or something like that. But other than that, as far as like getting hired on somewhere, they're not drug testing people anymore.
Oh well, I didn't know that. That doesn't affect me, but yeah, I don't know about that. I didn't know that was something that was a thing.
Yeah, that was on the
I heard
news
about
the other day. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I know that they've been talking about it, but I know the president mentioned something about it. Is some news blurbs here and there, but in terms of it being something that's in effect, I hadn't heard of that. So this is the first time me hearing about that.
Oh yeah, that was something they talked about on the news the other day. I seen that. I catch clips of the news that be on playing when I'm asleep. So sometimes I wake up and hear stuff, and sometimes I don't. But yeah. So that was something I thought was interesting.
Well, I'm union, so I'm pro non-drug testing. But that being said, because we do have that in our contract. But that being said, we also there's caveats to that there are certain positions that, due to the nature of your job, you're going to be drug tested, right? So probably if I'm getting ready to get on a plane and allow you to fly me around the world, I probably want to make sure that you're, not loaded.
Or if you're my brain surgeon or maybe my cardiac surgeon, I might want to make sure you're sober.
Exactly. Right. But, for some things, like, if you're working at 7-Eleven and checking people out, I mean, if you're butted and you can do your job, I mean, it doesn't make any difference. Let me give you an example. We went to Red Robin. This was before Red Robin got 86 from me because of the salad incident. But
oh, what was okay? I need to story.
I'll tell you about salad. I'll tell you about salad incident next. Anyway, the waitress comes out, right? Take our order. I immediately know she's butted. Her name tag is upside down. She's fumbling, and she's young. She's a young girl, right? She's cute. She's young, whatever. She's fumbling trying to get her little notepad and her pen, and she's talking really slowly, right? So I'm like,
It was
oh
no
Lord.
heroin. It sounded like to me.
She looked butted to me. So whatever. But either way, I knew she was on one, right? But my thing is this: as long as you do your job and bring me our food and stuff, like, we're good. So whatever she takes our drink order, she brings us our drinks. She brings us our drinks, she gets our food order, whatever. In the interim, there's a table next to us with three men, right, who've come
Uh-huh.
in. Younger guys, but not too young, probably late 20s, early 30s.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really paying them attention. The only reason I caught real wind to them was because she came to bring out their drinks, and literally the drinks just went flying everywhere. They just all over them, right? And
Mm-hmm.
because she's this cute little girl, they're not even tripping off her. They're like, "Oh, it's okay." They're trying to help her clean it up, whatever the deal is. So, I'm watching this. I'm paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my sons are also watching, but they're oblivious. They're not looking at this the way I look at this. My sons don't drink and they don't smoke weed and they don't partake in anything, right? So when we left
Mm-hmm.
there, I asked them, "So did you notice anything about her?" And they were like, "No." I said, "You didn't notice anything at all about this waitress?" No. And I said, she was high. And they were like, "How do you know this?" I said, "Because I used to smoke weed. This is how I know this. Like, I know what I'm looking at, right?" Like,
Right, right.
I said, and I'm not judging her and I'm not critiquing her. Like, our order came out just fine. Our food was good. She didn't spill none of our food. We were good, right? I said, but I'm just gaming you up so that you two know what you're looking at, since that's not a world that you move in, right? Like,
My thing is this. So you said that, like, I think earlier or before you started talking about that, you were saying that, like, if you're working at 7-Eleven or something, if you butt it and do your work. No, the idea is that you don't get barred from getting a goddamn job, but that don't mean you could be high at work. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck
I
out of
mean,
here.
I
Well,
guess it's
yeah,
just
because it's
not my point of, like, that's not my concern. If I come in and you render the services I needed, I don't, I'm not
You
worried
ain't,
about that.
yeah. Well, I'm just talking about, I guess, from the other side of it as a business
well,
owner.
I
From
went to the Seven
management.
Eleven by my house, and
Listen. No, go ahead. Hold on. I got one for your ass though. Go ahead,
the
Don.
one I went to the 7-Eleven by my house, like 3 o'clock in the morning. I went to go grab me some snacks and shit. Shouldn't even been out, right? I
Mm-hmm.
pull up in front of the store. It's like 4 bums out there in the Huron lot. They out there leaning, one backwards, one in front. I mean, just fucked up. So then I go in and it's a bitch and she's deaf, clearly trying to get her point across to the man behind the counter. He hide. He ain't got a lick of teeth. He doing all this black dude and this white lady, and she's trying to write him notes. And I don't know if they got a drug transaction going on or not. I don't know what was happening, but he was high. He was trying to scan my stuff. He couldn't get it to scan. I was like, dude, I know how much my shit's gonna cost. Here go this 5. You figure out what it's gonna cost, and you can put it in the thing whenever you get it together. But I'm not gonna stand here. Why are you fucking trying to figure out how to work this register that you should already know how to work? Because I came in here before when you was not high and you worked it just fine. And now today, you over here, you
Management's issue.
Listen.
As
I
a
have.
customer, that's not my issue. That's management's
So
issue.
listen. So listen. Here's one for you. So I'm conducting an interview for a potential candidate for a
oh
position
boy.
to work for me. So I have my my lead with me in this interview, doing somewhat of a panel interview, so he can get his experience. He's an out supervisor now, by the way. But so we're in this thing, and this chick comes in, and, like, I got the questions in front of me and all this stuff. And so I'm in there and he's in there, and we very friendly, and smiles everywhere, not intimidating or any of that. But she's in there and she's just like totally like gaped. And I'm sitting there interviewing her, and I know, just like how you said, Claire, how you know that
You
the
know
girl
what
was
you're looking
high. I'm sitting there, I'm looking at her, and I'm just like, and she was kind of like didn't want to look at me or that, it was so crazy. Like, and she just answered her quick. She didn't like have no questions at the end of the interview. Was super fast, and I was like, and she let I walked her out or whatever. And then I came back and I said, because then we do like a brief evaluation of what we think or whatever. And I said, did you realize? I said, yeah. I said, she was high, right? This is what I asked Tom Ali. He's like, what? And I was like, she was high. I was like, bro, she was high. You know what I mean? Like, it was the craziest shit I had ever
At an
experienced. You know
interview.
what I'm saying? At an interview, like I'm sitting there, like, bitch, really? Like, this was as I'm going through the interview.
Were her eyes low?
Listen, Claire, it was like, I was like, you couldn't do nothing about. I mean, you couldn't have did. I mean, it was like she was geeked. But she was like trying to, okay, so she's trying to keep it together. She had doused her eyes, I could tell, but they would still have that
looking like
droop.
the Muppet, like Janice
still,
and the band,
right?
right? And her eyes are always closed because she's loaded.
Right.
The fucking eyelashes and shit.
Yeah, man, it was bad though, but she didn't even, it's like, no, I was like, yeah, no, that ain't gonna happen.
No, because if you're not smart enough to come to the interview on point, then you're just not gonna be on point. Like that's starting from the outset all the way wrong.
And the cold thing about it is about a few months later or somewhat, I seen her working at some restaurant.
See,
and
where
I was
Robin
like,
is.
yeah, and I was like, I said, I remember this bitch. I said, you know what I mean?
Was she loaded? Was she loaded at work?
I didn't really remember that. I just knew that I knew her. She didn't look like she looked in that interview, that's for sure. I was just like, wow, that's how we doing it, huh?
Maybe she was on some oxy, and maybe she was having pain and took oxy.
You know what? Okay, so let me say that though, because
True.
that's definitely she could have been. Yeah,
That's
but you don't
true.
come to no interview like that. It
No,
ain't just
but
about weed. I'm talking about
True.
drugs overall.
right,
But if
yeah,
if it was that, you don't go to no goddamn interview if you got to take drugs that that's gonna make you look a certain kind of way or act a certain kind of way, because that's gonna fucking prohibit you from getting hired. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? You have to be, if you can't do it or you need to schedule it in a time when you know that you don't have to take your meds or whatever that's going to make you react a certain kind of way. You know what I mean? The
right,
first impression's a
Yeah.
motherfucker in the interview,
Yeah.
right,
and you can't never really get that back,
right,
the closest you to getting another shot would be to get a second interview with the manager who's going to ultimately make the decision, if there's some questions or anything like that, so because I'll be like, oh yeah, nah, I'm cool. And then she's like, well, I think this, and that, and then she'll whatever, you know what I mean? That's just how that works. But this girl, nah, I was like, what are you doing? Like, I was just thinking to myself, like, just yeah, whatever. But it was just interesting, to see that, what get while conducting an interview. Fucking crazy.
yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, more often than not.
Yeah. Well.
Well, like today, I was talking to one of my people I work with, and
Mhm.
she's in management now, and she's like, I don't smoke weed and shit. She said, but I went into the break room today. She said that just smelled. That's how you know she don't smoke it. It just smelled like chronic. I said, what?
Like chronic? She said
She said
That
chronic.
like
was the word
chronic.
she used.
That's the
Wow.
word. She said chronic. She says, I don't even smoke weed, but it smelled like she's got to go back out, get my nostrils clean, and go back in and make sure I wasn't tripping. I was like, you better be careful inhaling. You might have got a contact. She said, Carol, it was weed in there. Somebody smelled like they just came off their breath. I said, see, clearly you don't know what you're talking about. I said, because that means somebody had some in their bag or something in their locker
That's
and forgot to
exactly what
take
I
it out.
was thinking. It stashes in the locker.
And you forgot to take that shit out your bag or whatever before you came to work, coming to work smelling like straight tree. You know what I'm saying?
Infiltrating.
Tree. You just smell like, because you can't tell me that 90% of the people that be in processing, or not processing alone, but like in our lab area, I know you motherfuckers be. Ain't no way you can be in there for 8 to 10 to 12 hours, just sitting in the same spot, just doing this and doing just back and forth, and you not, man, please, you on something.
They're using that shit to focus, right?
Clearly.
Get zone.
And it be too much giggling and laughing and conversation and stories and shit going on.
Check this out. I got One more story before we close up shop. This has been a pretty good show, ladies. This one is about the Mexican situation and Americans being kidnapped. This has been kind of trending. A few situations happened. There's been some people that have lost their lives because of these type of situations. But we're going to play this video from NBC Nightly News, and then we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, swallow, nigga.
Chilling images tonight appear to show 4 Americans kidnapped at gunpoint moments after crossing from Texas into Mexico on Friday. Tonight, the FBI asking for the public's help, offering a $50,000 reward to help locate the Americans who were attacked by armed men after crossing from Brownsville, Texas into Matamoros, riding in a minivan bearing North Carolina plates. One woman seen being dragged into a pickup truck. A U.S. official tells NBC News the attack may have been a case of mistaken identity. Authorities say a Mexican citizen was killed during the confrontation. Gabe Gutierrez reports it happened in an area that has become increasingly dangerous.
These photos, shared widely on social media, appear to show the kidnapping's aftermath. The FBI said the 4 Americans entered Matamoros, Mexico Friday in a white minivan with North Carolina license plates before armed gunmen opened fire and abducted them. A law enforcement official with knowledge of the matter tells NBC News this video depicts part of the kidnapping, appearing to show one woman walking on her own, forced into a white pickup truck. Armed men with bulletproof vests are then seen dragging other people into the vehicle.
We're closely following the assault and kidnapping of 4 U.S. citizens in Matamoros, Mexico. These sorts of attacks are unacceptable.
Authorities say a Mexican citizen was killed during the incident. A law enforcement official tells NBC News the Americans did not cross the border for any criminal purpose, and that this appears to be a case of mistaken identity. Today, Mexico's president said they'd entered the country to buy medicine, although U.S. officials have not confirmed that. The Mexican government We visited Matamoros to report on migrant tent camps for years, but violence there has escalated. The city of about 500,000 people just across the border from Brownsville, Texas, is home to warring factions of the Gulf drug cartel. The shootouts on Friday prompted the U.S. consulate to issue another security alert. Tonight, the FBI is offering a $50,000 reward for the safe return of the Americans.
And Gabe is with me now. Do we know anything about the identities of the Americans?
Well, Lester, the FBI has not confirmed any details, but I just spoke with a family member of one of those abducted, and she says the group was from South Carolina but had a rental car with North Carolina plates. She says the group crossed the border for a medical procedure. A law enforcement source with knowledge of the matter tells NBC News it was cosmetic surgery, and families pleading for their safe return tonight.
Isn't it the second time something like this happened?
I think that was happened. The cartel and see the other cartel members. What it was is that the cartel apologized to those families and all that stuff, and they turned over the people that did it. What it was is that they thought there was some Haitians coming over to do some drug stuff or whatever the case may have been, and they was only going to the Bronx and get some cosmetic surgery, and so the cartel turned over the people that were responsible for the deaths of the woman and the man that they killed, and the other 2 people got safely returned back home. But the cartel issued an apology to the families or whatever and whatnot, and I don't know what else happened with that. But unless there's a newer story that happened, I remember when that happened. That was a big deal. That was major.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, but she was going over there for the same deal, going to get a procedure done or something like that.
Yeah, but that footage was from the first time where they had them. You know what I'm saying? When they killed the lady, the black people that went over there, they thought they was the Haitians, and they wasn't.
So they killed all of them?
No, they killed 2 of them, and the other 2 made it back safely.
How did the other 2 make it back safely?
Because the police and the federales or whatever you want to call them escorted them back across the border. They drove them back to the border themselves with protection. And then the cartel handed over the men who were responsible for, because they said they acted on their own. They did not have any, they weren't giving any orders to do the things that they did or whatever supposedly. And so they turned them over to the authorities.
Got you. Okay. Yeah, that shit crazy as fuck. You know, think about yeah, that just make me not even want to go to Mexico for nothing.
You gotta
Nothing
be
at all.
careful.
Well, my thing is like,
I got to be careful here.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Shit. I got to be careful in my own country.
But that's just
man.
like, well, my cousins when they went to, because Granny is from Nicaragua, so they had went back to Nicaragua with Granny to visit the family and all that and everything down there, and when the women were out walking, and what I'm saying, one day somebody tried to rob them, you know what I'm saying, they walking around with machetes and shit down there, they'll chop your fucking head off, you know what I'm saying, they don't give two fucks, you know what I'm saying, ain't nobody coming for you. You gonna be scattered in pieces around that motherfucker. So it's just like you don't be careful, be mindful. You better be mindful of where the fuck you stepping and who you stepping with.
Oh,
You know what I'm
Scooty
saying?
in the building, Ebbs in the building. What's up, y'all? See y'all. Thanks for joining us. Yeah.
Duh.
I would never. I don't want to go to none of them places, dude. Like Nicaragua. I mean, I don't want to go to Colombia. I mean, I used to think about wanting to go to the places, but right now it's just so fucking weird with how shit is going internationally. I'm skeptical of going anywhere outside the country, and it ain't safe here. Shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? For real.
We damn near a third world country ourselves. Shit.
All right,
Come on.
Yeah. For real.
We are
It
now.
looked like a third world country around this motherfucker.
I mean, there's plenty of places that people
Thank
live
you,
in this
Elsa.
country. There's plenty of people that live in this country that live in third world conditions.
Hell yeah.
In this country right now.
In this city.
Right now. Okay, I was just gonna say right here around the corner from me right now.
Yeah, that's third world conditions.
Third world conditions.
With
That
nobody.
7-Eleven I went to is third world conditions.
But
Yeah,
what
that's
I'm
like the
saying
market.
is they not using that kind of language though. You see what I'm saying? Because they have access to services and all that type of shit, nigga. Then people have certain services and access to, but they don't stop them from being poor.
Okay.
You can go get some soup or a piece of bread or something like that, some rice or whatever it might be for that place,
I think as Americans, we have to be aware. We have when we're traveling outside this country, you have to be aware of where you're going and how you're viewed as an American, right?
That part.
Some places are very receptive of Americans, and that's cool. Even within Mexico, right? You have all kinds of expats who live all throughout the country.
Mm-hmm.
The border towns, probably not so much, right?
Clearly.
But wherever you're going to go, pick a country, any country, pick a state for that matter. Know where you're going, right? Do your research, know where you're going, and don't be assuming that you're going to be able to move the same way you do, on your own block, because that's just not.
Right.
That's just not what that is.
Right. Different. You got to have a different attitude and approach when you're in different places like that. You can't bring the same American attitude that you have over in the States over there, because they got
you can't bring that same American attitude to Chicago in certain parts. You come up fucking missing, or just be a statistic on the street somewhere bleeding out.
No. What I'm saying is this:
Yeah.
in America, you know what you're dealing with in terms of how shit's gonna turn out for you if you break laws.
Right.
You niggas can go in and act a fool. We see people acting stupid in restaurants. Do that somewhere else, bro, and watch how they deal with you. And it's not going to be the same.
Fuck around and find out.
Right. So that's what I'm saying when I say like the American attitude. It's an arrogant attitude. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's, all Americans possess it. I mean, I'm not gonna say, but I want to say that when you're cocky, it's that cockiness and shit. But when you take that attitude to a different place, it will shut your ass down immediately. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you ain't gonna be able to just be out here acting stupid abroad. You know what I mean? And why would you want to do that? You know what I'm saying? Like I would never want to get caught up like that
at all.
Because I seen this video where it's, they got this thing, this Passport Brothers thing or whatever, where you got black men that are going to different countries like South America, Brazil, Colombia, and all these places to get women, right? Yeah. And I forgot what I was going to say. I had a good point too.
You're talking about You was talking about how you going abroad and you can't have that arrogance, and then the passport brothers went over there to get women.
Oh yeah,
STML.
yeah. Nigga got a dude got murdered out there.
Dementia?
He got robbed. No.
Oh my.
Probably shit. Could be the onset of that. You
I
never
was
know.
thinking it was STML.
Yeah,
Do you know how old they were, Elsa? The people that got kidnapped in Mexico?
They were like their early 30s, late 20s.
Okay, so they weren't too young. I say that because when I was 19, and I'm prefacing this story with I was 19.
Okay.
I went to a conference down at San Diego State University. Went down there with Bernadette, right? Me and Bernadette went down there, right? So I'm 19. I'm like, I'm gonna go over to Tijuana. Like, you can drink at Tijuana 18, right? I'm going over there, right?
Right.
Bernadette was like, yeah, I'm not in on this, right? But there was a guy that was at San Diego State that's at the conference, and he's like, I'll take you over to TJ. Like, it's all good, right? So I can now, mind you, this is the 90s, right? So it's early 90s. We drive to the border and we park at the border. Now I'm gonna say this: we're not like going through like where all the traffic is going through. We literally park the car on like a back road and we just walk into Mexico, like on some back street type shit. I kid you not. I mean, just strolled right through in February. It was a beautiful evening, whatever. Um, uh, Cruised right into downtown TJ. It was an amazing scene because there were far more Americans in sight than there were Mexicans, but there were a lot of small children. And he had said to me, "Whatever you do, don't don't pay attention to the children." I'm like, "What children?" He was like, "You about to see." There were children everywhere. And when I mean children, I mean little babies. I mean, maybe the oldest is at 5 and they're with 2 and 3 years old and they're out there and they're begging for money. And I'm
Right.
thinking to myself, there has to be some adult somewhere in sniper view watching these kids, but they out
Right.
there begging Americans for that American dollar.
Right. And
Um,
if you give somebody something, it probably sets it off.
Sets the whole thing off. But whatever, we went in and went to a couple bars and had some drinks and came back came back through the main point of entry,
Right.
um, which then turned out to be like a stone's throw from wherever dude parked the car,
Right.
but you couldn't see that initially when we walked in there. But like that, just I think about that and I tell that story, and people are like, "You did what?" And I was like, "Yeah, I was 19. Like that's all I got is I was 19."
Well,
But
you
coming
you
back
hear
into the
safe.
states, I'm here safely. Coming back into the states, they were like, he cruised right through, and they said to me, "Are you a citizen?" I said, "Yeah." They were like, "Of what country?" And I was like, "Oh my, the United States of
Well,
America.
bet.
Let me give you my ID right now." Right? We were talking about ID earlier. I was like, but that was my first real reality check about, who I am and what my physical appearance looks like. And when you're of questionable ethnicity, like that could
Yeah.
be to your benefit and it could be to your detriment, right? And know that. And since then
Well,
I have numerous people who are from anywhere south of the border who habla español, and I'm like, poquito, no, 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 Ebonics,
man,
Americanized English, but
I,
yeah,
I was on
español.
the Greyhound coming back from Louisiana, and I fell asleep. I think we were going through a border town like Mexico, like near Mexico or whatever, and I was asleep. And I remember this law enforcement officer got on and poked me to wake me up. And he said, "Are you a United States citizen?" And asked me that shit. I looked at him like weird, like motherfucker. I was like, yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was trying to say it was the craziest shit. So I get it though. It was like, wait a minute, man. Hold on. Yes, I am. I'm from the US of A, sir. You goddamn I'm proud to be an American. Hey, I ain't going, don't be pushing me nowhere I don't want to be. That would be
Well, they
cold.
tried to deport my black ass. Yeah, they did. They had me on the
Oh.
plane with the shackles on and all that. They was getting ready to drop a bitch off in Honduras. Right. And yeah, the people told the one little lady,
Yeah,
she
you
said,
got that look. I can see that. And,
she was like, because there was like They thought my name was. They thought I was trying to change my name to Nelson, and my last name was supposed to be Nelzario or some shit. And
Oh,
Elsa, and they had me shackled down, nigga. I was going to the bitch told me, she's like, "Hey, if your feet touch Honduran soil, you got a case." I said, "If I make it back alive," she was like, but as the plane was getting ready to leave the tarmac out there, you could just see the marshals coming, trying to stop that plane because they knew they had to
they
get
were
her up
like,
off of
we will be
get
in
her.
trouble.
Get her off of there right now.
Right.
They were like, why didn't you say anything? I said, I just wanted to see what was gonna happen. I was nervous as a hooker in church, but I was like, about that money that the American government was gonna have to give me.
Said Ivory said I experienced the same thing. Little kids coming into the bar selling bracelets. The little girl was no
Yeah.
older than 5 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Say, did you buy a bracelet?
He's
That's
still
the
here,
You
so
know, he was
apparently
like,
not.
hell no. I can hear him right now saying, hell no, I didn't buy no
that
bracelet.
nigga bought like some bracelets, nigga, to bring home. I bet you he did. He bought some bracelets, and then another little kid came up with a wallet.
And it was his.
Empty, nigga.
Scooty, you better defend yourself, friend.
Immediately. Get your typing skills on, player. But nah, you know what I'm saying? You just got to be careful though. Like, man.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
for
know.
sure.
I'm not saying that I ain't gonna go because I still got my my trip to London.
Oh yeah, they gonna deport your ass back to Nigeria because they ain't gonna let you back over here. They gonna say you belong over there in Nigeria with them niggas. You ain't no American boy. Quit playing. You didn't learn how to speak straight. We gonna send you back over there to them place with them Negroes over there.
Hey, listen, Nigeria ain't necessarily a bad place if you're in the right place.
Yeah. I just
Lagos
said they
is a
not
little
go.
rough.
Yeah.
Just say the niggers are here.
Fuck around, they be like, where Ray Ray at? He done made a home. That nigga done got bought a house out there in Nigeria and shit. And be like, man, got everything I need. You know what I mean? Shit. And I can still do the podcast.
Doing PDXDOPE live from
Yeah,
Nigeria.
Nigeria. Yeah, I still can do the podcast.
Live from Lagos. It's Saturday here, but Friday there.
Yeah. We doing a show.
Right.
That would be kind of weird though.
It'd be kind of dope. Sit on your back hut porch. You
Yeah.
know?
Oh, she said a hut. So nigga, goddamn, I'm not going nowhere for no hut, nigga. If I live outside the country, I'm gonna be living like a goddamn king.
I was just having my jokes, but you know,
No, that
I
was
know
a
they
good
got
one.
some fat. They
That
got
was
some
good.
fat shit over there. Hell yeah.
He'll
I was
get
just being funny.
his Nigerian gear and
I have people. No, I ain't going that far. I'm
Yeah,
just
you
saying
is.
that.
Yeah, you
No, I'm
is
not. No, I'm not.
with your
No,
little toothy hat and shit.
no, none of. I'm gonna be different for real. I promise you that. You know what I'm saying?
And Scooty said no. He said no.
I knew he didn't buy them bracelets. I have faith in you. I know you.
They was coming at you for the bracelets, bro.
Your little
Yeah.
anklet. You got your little anklet, huh?
Not
You
the
got a little
anklet.
anklet. You got a little anklet and shit.
5-year-old in the bar though, selling stuff.
Yeah, it's they
That's a
just
setup.
it's there's so many of them. So I definitely want to go back to Tijuana in the day.
Right, right.
I definitely want to do that, but you know, at the
I would
same
love to
time,
go to Tijuana in the day with you, Claire, because I
we
know we'd have a great time.
we would have a phenomenal time, day or night.
Day or night, we'd have an awesome time. Yes,
We should plan a trip. That could be a lot of fun,
Clearly,
even if it's just a little quick turnaround weekend trip.
they ain't
Well,
gonna. They gonna try to keep us.
don't get goddamn kidnapped by these motherfuckers now.
We're calling you.
We gotta find that
What
little
I'm gonna
street.
do?
I don't know. You gonna help figure something out from
What?
this side.
We'll be on a
Yeah, man.
podcast. We'll be trying to get y'all
Hey
out.
man, this dude that came in this room like 7 times already. He keeps saying little things, just different shit to me. Now he needs a hug.
Oh,
He
this
need his
nigga's
nanny.
sleepy. He's
He need his
sleepy.
nanny.
He just trying to be nosy. The
He
people can
wanna
see
be
you.
seen. He just
Right.
wanna be seen. So hey, say what's up. Say what's up.
What's up?
Okay.
What's up, man?
They say what's up,
Irie
man.
said, stop acting scared. Just make sure your phone has full battery service.
Stop acting scared, Ray. because Claire and Petty are not
Elsa,
acting
we are
scared.
not scared. Okay, beat it, bro.
I don't want to
Like
go to no third world countries, nigga. You know what I'm
You live in
saying?
a third
we
world
live in
country,
one. You live right
Oh,
around.
okay,
I mean,
okay. Goddamn, we
you
just talking about
goddamn, you live in a third
but
world
you
country.
know,
bro, they didn't kidnap black people because they don't take food stamps no more.
but Ivory has a point. Like when there was that way back in the early '80s when the in Iran where they had the plane, the hostages, they had the American hostages. They let the women go and the people of color go because they already understood the dynamic of that situation in the United States. So the
Mhm.
only people that they actually kept held hostage were white men.
Oh, mediocre white men. All
Watch.
right.
So yeah. So like the one thing though is that the world does understand that dynamic of the reality of being a person of non-Caucasian heritage in the United States, and being a woman. Now, I don't know how they feel about my friend Martha, aka
Hmm.
Stewart, but
Okay, I was gonna say you talking about Stewie, Stewie Little.
I like Martha, but they might not have sympathy for her, but they might because of the way they try to do her dirty
Well, as
about
long as they let me
inside
off the
training.
plane, I'm gracious.
So
Yeah, yeah. What he
yeah,
said. Well, all right, y'all. I'll let you, man. We can make that deal after you get out of this. You know what I'm saying?
but it is just
But,
about paying attention to your surroundings, and you always pay attention to your surroundings, so you be good and doing the research before you get to where you're going.
well, I definitely do that. I definitely do that. But yeah,
What about the did we cover the one about the people who ended up? Oh, we did.
yeah,
No, we
yeah.
didn't.
Yeah, we talked
Yeah,
about it a little bit. That's why we was talking
yeah,
about these countries, and what I think we
yeah.
started talking about how to act when you go to these different countries and stuff like that, and not being arrogant, having an American attitude when you go there and shit. Like my dad made a point to me because he
Oh,
was in London and he was telling me a story when him and Jane were there, and he was so embarrassed by these Americans who was in there acting American. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
oh, what is this? And they had a nice restaurant where they, for instance, they I think they were, or maybe it was France or something. They were over there in Europe, but and he was just so embarrassed, for America because these motherfuckers
It's,
was acting like fucking assholes.
they
Right.
chicken strips and fries. Get
Yeah,
over
yeah,
it.
you're right. So that's what they wanted, some American burgers or some weird shit he was telling me, and he was like, "Man, what the fuck, man?" It's like he said, "We traveled 5,000 miles away from this motherfucker, and then we get it here in goddamn Europe, wherever they were." It
Right.
was hilarious.
And that's
Yeah,
rude and it's insulting.
because we all ain't like that. Yeah, nah, man.
Well, they told me I was rude, and I thought I was an uppity nigga when I was in Tennessee because I told them niggas they was remedial. Yeah.
You wonder why?
Mm. They said, well, I mean, it really wasn't that. It was just like they kept saying dumb shit. Then, like my sister, baby daddy, he would say, and he was dead ass serious. He said, "You and this nigga was made it to college." I'm like, "Oh yeah, they let anybody graduate." So
Wow.
he said the U.S. Bank is not U.S. Bank, it's Us Bank because it don't got the periods. I was like, "Nigga, you ain't never even seen a commercial that say Us Bank, nigga. What the fuck are you talking about? Are you kidding me?" And he was dead ass like. I'm like, bro. I'm like, and
Was
this
this
is
a
who you
conspiracy theory?
he was dead ass, and I was like, and this is who you reproduce with, and I was like, I mean, I just can't believe that you are dead ass serious right now about it being called Us
Well,
Bank.
who's the
This,
person that you said, you told me this? I think you told me this. You said that the dude said that the mice grow up to rats.
oh my god.
Wow.
He was dead serious when he told me. He told me, he was like, well, I said something about the mice or something. He said, well, you got to get the mice up out of there because eventually they grow into rats. I looked at that nigga. I was like, oh yeah, we can't even be friends no more, dude. You dumber than a motherfucker.
You
I don't even
missed
want to be
that
your
day
friend.
in biology.
Yeah, I don't even want to be your friend because that is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. How could you even fix your mouth to say some stupid shit like that to me? Like, bro, you're stupid as fuck. He said mice grow into rats. I forgot about that shit. Dumbass
Look,
nigga.
he watched it. You know, you say that to some niggas, they on their smartphone trying
Trying to look
confirm.
that shit up, like trying to find proof of that, like
Like
smartphone dumb
because
nigga. Like,
everybody
are
no
you
listen
serious?
no because they probably believe it if you know another nigga might believe that or you're on the phone like man that don't seem to sound right but maybe he right though.
Let me go look that up. No, nigga, don't look that up because you ain't gonna find nothing. Nigga, they cousins. Nigga, they ain't they. What are you talking about? Oh, that is the dumbest shit ever. Like mice grow into rats, bro. Like you're the dumbest nigga ever. Like you are a waste of fucking sex. You should have been swallowed.
Wow.
Like,
Wow.
like you were a waste. I know they were mad at when they rolled you. And all the sperm, we just had this conversation too. Out of all the sperm that made it,
Out of 500 million.
it was you.
Half a billion.
It was fucking you. You were the strongest one. You were the strongest one. So you mean all those other ones? Wow. To me, you seem like the weakest fucking link, bro. Like you are the homie with the extra chromie, my nigga. Like seriously, like, for real. Yeah, buddy.
That's rich.
Yeah.
Homie
boy.
with the extra chromie.
Homie with the extra
Damn.
chromie. Yeah, that's him.
This
all day
is this
long.
this is definitely for mature audience.
Only.
That motherfucker's stupid as the day. Oh man,
Maybe
he's stupid.
maybe intellectual audiences too.
Yeah.
Not for the not for the us bankers.
No,
I bank at Us Bank. I bank at Us Bank.
Because that's what he said. He was saying something. Oh, we gotta go down to Us Bank. I said, what? He said, you know Us Bank. I said, what? You mean U.S. Bank, nigga? He was like, I said, see, this is what I was talking about. You niggas with me. Oh, you just think you better than niggas. You just think. No.
Oh, because you talk kind of proper.
Right. I'm like,
listen. Every time, I mean, it's like I don't even say every time, but I've been in certain situations where people say that to me and shit like that, and I just don't get it though. I mean, like, nigga, this is how I fucking talk. You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean? Like,
what am I supposed to sound a certain kind of way to prove to your motherfucking ass that I grew up a certain kind of way or that I'm hip or what the fuck does that even mean?
They want you to talk like you fresh off the plantation, nigga. That's what they want.
I mean, like, seriously, though. I mean, I haven't even mastered the English language. It kicks my ass some days. But what I'm saying is that my parents, the people around me who I grew up around, they knew how to talk. And they used correct English and shit. You know what I'm saying? To the best of their ability. And so I grew up being around that type of shit. I also came up in the Pacific Northwest, where it is probably one of the whitest places on earth. And guess what? You know what I'm saying? They talk. You know what I'm saying? So listen, man. Hey, man, I that shit it trips me out when people say that type shit, though. You know, I just be like, man,
it just don't make no sense. Like it's some stupid country motherfuckers right here in this city.
It's like I can't help it though, right? So I should try to talk different so that I can fit in.
You know, you're supposed to be like, well, the Bubba them said that we was supposed to go down to the store to get a cold drink. What the fuck is a cold drink? Nigga? Oh my god!
And then mice grew up to be rats. Wow.
Hey man, when that nigga said that shit, I lit that nigga up, nigga. That nigga was like, "You gonna quit mentally abusing me?" I said, "You gonna quit being a dumb nigga around me? Get away from me. This time for you to go.
Listen.
We can't even be friends."
Yeah, no, man. Like, I would have never came back.
Man,
I'm done.
Man,
I'm done.
Like we ain't friends ever again. Like you is the dumbest. You can't even have a conversation about politics because you think rats are on the mic. So I know you can't hold a conversation about nothing else. Nothing.
Oh wait. But yeah,
that's the funniest shit ever.
Where are we at? We're at the end. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for joining us on this episode of the PDXDOPE Live. Claire, Don, thank you guys for joining. And we got to do this again soon. Want you guys to like this video, subscribe to the channel so that you can get notifications for the next PDXDOPE Live episode. And with that,
there's no rats don't grow in the mice.
With that, we're out of here.
Right here, I ain't going nowhere. Got something to dance to for players and squares. Drugs and booze we share. The smell of weed, smoke, and sex in the air. Come and play with me if you dare. It's hotter than Hell's Kitchen, women everywhere. We living it up until the clock stop. Rockin' hip hop, we go hard to the last shot. Or my body drop, playing it in the box. I like it so clear on top.